Trump has God on his side, exploring the left's incessant hatred, and our very special guest, Todd Howarth. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Woss. We saw an awful act of violence on July 13th, and we know it was done because the political left is afraid of handing power over to the people they have condemned, ridiculed, jailed, and demonized for the past 8 years. They're fearful that what they've been doing to their political opposition will be done to them in return. Someone tried killing President Trump. They were unsuccessful in killing him, but they were successful in killing their own credibility and handing the presidency back over to Trump. They know Joe Biden can't legitimately win the 24 election, and after impeachments and indictments failed to stop President Trump, they resorted to their final tactic: death to the man that will save America from evil, communism, Marxism, and tyranny. We're going to talk about this and many other things on the show today with our very own Johnchiara. We also have a very special guest, rock star and patriot Todd Howarth, on the show today. But before we bring Todd on, I want you to see this clip of him with Ace Frehley. I love that song. I want to introduce you to the one and only Todd Howarth. Todd,
thanks, Dan. John.
So great to have you here, Todd. I want people to know just how proud we are to have Todd on the show today. Todd, I've been following you for years, probably since that song came out. But for people who may not know you, can you give us like a quick bio and rundown of all the famous bands you've played with and, you know, musical success you've had?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I'm glad to be here actually, but, my musical success. Yeah. My father has a different term for it, but that's because he's only seen the tumultuous part of it. But, in late 79, I moved to LA to pursue my career. I'm down here in San Diego. And I had high aspirations because, you know, that was the place to be, to make it back then. And I pounded the pavement for quite some time. And then I ended up joining a band called 707, who had a charting song called I Could Be Good For You. And we went out on tour with REO Speedwagon in the High Infidelity tour, which was a tour, the biggest tour I've done actually to date. And that went on for quite some time. The band, of course, eventually, unfortunately, it fizzled. And then after I got out of that band, I joined Ted Nugent. I, along with Kevin Russell, sang backgrounds on the Penetrator album for Ted, since we got to know him during the touring of the early 80s. And he had asked me later, hey, you want to come play keyboards and guitar for the tour in '84? I said, sure. So I did that for about 6 months, I believe, Europe and America, and Canada. And it was phenomenal experience, of course. After that, I ended up joining Cheap Trick because I played with some guys that were in Cheap Trick and around the production team for Cheap Trick at the time. And I was with them from '85 to '86. And then after that, I joined Fraley's Comet in 87, January of 87 to 88. And after that, had some tumult as well. I ended up going back with Cheap Trick while doing some solo stuff in 1990 to 96. And I played with him on and off after that, but I've been pursuing my own solo stuff for quite some time. And I've been a candidate for a lot of other big bands. Hopefully I'm not frozen there. That is a lovely picture of me. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you there for a second.
Okay. I'm not sure where you lost me, but I've had a lot of other opportunities and offers to play with some other bands, including the likes of REO Speedwagon, again, Aerosmith, Heart. And I also was going to go after a possibility with Velvet Revolver and even Van Halen. But obviously these things never come to pass.
Wow. I mean, it's quite a career. I mean, and you know, when that Ace Frehley album came out, I was like, man, Ace has got this, because I didn't know who you were at the time. Ace Frehley's got this guy singing. I mean, this guy is freaking good, and I was so impressed. And I thought you were such an improvement, such a compliment to Ace, and you know, and also tribute to our friend John Regan. What a, you know, and it's so sorry to see him go, but yeah, what a great guy. And I got to meet him, and he was just such a great guy and such a cool bass player, man.
He was phenomenal. I mean, the reason I ended up with Fraley's Comet, because when I was touring with Cheap Trick, 85, 86, John Regan was playing bass for John Waite in the I Ain't Missing You at All tour, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, I love John Waite. And I used to watch the sound checks, and I just walked up to John one time afterwards, and I didn't know who he was. I said, hey, you know, I'm Todd Howarth, the keyboard player for Cheap Trick. I said, you guys are phenomenal sound checkers. And he goes, oh yeah, I've been watching you. You're singing and playing an awful lot up there. I said, yeah, that's what I do. Then we got to talking, but and which eventually led to me auditioning for Ace Frehley's band. But John was a phenomenal bass player, solid, a great producer, a great man, very family oriented. Also a lot more conservative than people would think he would be, because he kept it quiet. He didn't want to do battle online because he had a temper, I guess, worse than mine. But he was smart about that with that regard, because he played with a lot of big people: Stones, Peter Frampton, David Lee Roth, Stephen Stills. I mean, the guy was just unbelievable in the studio when he would play track bass. Like, oh my God, it's like when Anton, John, and I would track in the first album, it was like Zeppelin. It's like, oh, this is unbelievable. That's
now,
how
people don't know, you're talking about Anton Fig,
right,
who may have people may know him. If they don't know him from bands, they may know him from that was David Letterman's band, correct?
Right. You get me?
Yep, I got you now. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's correct. He played with Ace in the first incarnation of Fraley's Comet with Arthur Stead on keyboards and the great Richie Scarlett on guitar and songwriting. What had happened is that John had the idea to consolidate. I believe John and others had the idea to consolidate the band down to 4-piece. And I was also, at that time, and I like to think still, a prolific songwriter. They could bang out the tunes, and I was a real lead singer as opposed to Ace's charismatic lead singing. So, and Ace didn't really want to sing all the stuff. He wanted to sing some songs, but he wanted to have a lead singer as well. So that's how that worked.
Yeah, and that was the great thing at that time. I think what you brought to that band with vocals and lead singer, I think as a lead singer, I think that was the best. But then, so I don't want to interrupt you too much, because then you end up going on to creating a band called 4 by Fate. And if I remember right, my favorite song on that album was Moonshine. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's a great song. The band, we recorded 6 tracks before we lost AJ Perro of Twitz's sister on drums. And we had 2 of the players, Stet Howland, that was supposed to, from Lost, drummer, who was supposed to track, and he had a car accident, and I couldn't do the tracking. And within a couple days, we're supposed to, we got a time allotted. And then we had Sean Kelly from Crash Kelly out of Canada, a great guitar player, who eventually bowed out of the banks. They thought it was too heavy. Great guy, but he thought it was too heavy. So we got Pat Gasparini in there, who had John track one of his songs about the same time we were putting this band together. And John brought one of the songs to me. He said, listen to this guy. It's amazing. So we got Pat Gasparini into the band, and he's even more of a prolific songwriter, and he wrote Moonshine, which is a phenomenal song.
Great song. Absolutely loved it. And I got to meet all the guys at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, I don't know, a few years back. Anyway.
Right.
That it's just, what a great career, man. You should be so proud of yourself for I mean, all the stuff you've done, the songwriting, not to mention the bands you played with, the people you've met. I mean, you know, and which brings me to the topic that I wanted to kind of discuss, is that typically people from California in the music world, in the movie business, they're not very conservative. They usually fall on the liberal side of the spectrum. But we are so lucky to have rock stars like you, Ted Nugent, Kid Rock. You know, there's all these guys who are actually very conservative. So, and the Trump shirt too. I mean, we got to see the Trump shirt. That's a 3%er Trump shirt. That is the best. That is awesome. So, but yeah, no, it's so great that, you know, rock stars that I admired and are supporting the cause, the American cause. So hats off to you. And I wanted to get into the topic about Trump's recent assassination attempt. Will it be one of those moments, I think, that, what's your opinion on this? And John, too, what are you guys' opinions on? Will it be one of those moments where we remember where we were, where it goes down in history, kind of like the 9/11 moment? For me, it was pretty profound. What are your thoughts on it?
As far as my wife and I were out on our boat on Mission Bay on Saturday when this took place. And of course, we won't forget it. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, we were out having a good time I'm just getting over a chest and sinus thing. And so I was trying to get a little bit of sunshine, salt air. And that happened. It just put such a dampener on the day. And so we were listening to music and having our lunch, you know, and relaxing. And then all of a sudden went straight to the news, and you know, we listened to it, and we were all on our phones and texting and talking to people and that kind of thing. It was horrible. Valerie, my wife Valerie, and I are not surprised, as were many others. We've been worried about this since 2016, increasingly so after all the discontent by the Marxist cabal that definitely don't want him in there. I think some of the people that hate Trump will also remember where they were on Saturday. It's just ludicrous to me how many people champion the idea that we need to get rid of him by any means necessary. So because he's Hitler, I don't understand that ignorant thought process. Hitler was Hitler, period. You cannot make an assumption or base an opinion so strongly subjective based on the media's outlay of what you and how you should think about what this man is. It's just unbelievable. We've been, our stomachs have been in knots for years about this. And yeah. I think that I'm really concerned about the complacency, the enabling, the possibilities, the conspiracy theories that are popping up, which most of all our conspiracy theories have proven to be true. So I'm afraid that this may not be the last time these pieces of crap decide to do this. So we're constantly vigilant by default. I think for his safety. But John, go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah,
Well, I was doing a show at the Pleasantdale Fire Department in Lansingburg for 18 people, and I got a text, and I'm like, "What the heck is going on here?" And again, not really unexpected. I mean, I don't understand.
right. I think
I don't understand how. Well, first of all, the media can think that they're going to bombard people with negative Hitler-based criticism that sooner or later somebody isn't going to take that seriously, and yet they bear no responsibility. It's pretty frustrating and typical of what we see, though. I mean, the mainstream media bears no responsibility for anything anymore. They just think they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and they never want to place any blame in anything. And I'm sure they blame all this on Trump, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
they already have. I mean, the malleable public is unbelievable. You know, they'll go along and believe with whatever they're told to do. And the deep state cabal and the media have figured out, boy, these people are just dumb as bag of rocks. Yep. We can say, do anything we want and tell them, don't believe your lying eyes. You know, you believe what we tell you. And it's unbelievable how many people, that's it. Trump's evil. He's going to be a dictator from day one. They take everything just so quickly out of context. And it's just irritating to me that they've let this happen to themselves.
They have, I think, and it's a pattern that is consistent. And my theory is because they're so used to believing what comes down from the top, what they're told to think. Yeah. First of all, they go along with it. Second of all, they use that as a premise to project on us, thinking, oh, if Trump told you to go out and shoot people, you'd be out there killing people. And we're all like, what are you talking about? You know, well, that's not what goes on at all.
Can we bring up photo 1, please? That's true. It's projection. And they think we're going to do what they are thinking about doing. And that's what Sigmund Freud called projection. He said it's placing your thoughts or your anger or your mind set onto someone else. So I look at this picture that we have up on the screen of this kid, and I have to ask myself, what has to happen in the mind of a young person like this to think that this is a good thing to do? I'm just, we've all done crazy things when we were younger, but something's going on, and I want your guys' opinion on this. Something's definitely going on in the minds of young people that never happened before.
I think the ideology that gets instilled in them at some point or another in their indelible juncture in their young life. 20-year-old kid gets up there on that. I find it hard to believe that he got up there on his own and they didn't pay attention, and there wasn't something going on that enabled this to happen. I mean, had this been a sitting president, especially a Democrat one, they would have nailed this guy before he put his second foot on the rooftop.
Well,
but
and I'm glad you brought that up because we do have a clip about that, but go ahead. Sorry.
They let that happen. So the grooming, the conditioning, the recruitment, I believe, of this crap has been going on so long. And we go back into mass shootings. I mean, God, we spend hours on this, from Las Vegas to the mass shootings of schools. Why did they go to schools? Because, guns are outlawed in schools. Okay, let's go shoot up schools because we can make our point about taking away guns by shooting up young, defenseless kids.
Yeah, with no resistance.
Yeah, exactly. So the myopic stupidity is unbelievable to me. But I think the kid was recruited and then allowed to access that rooftop.
Could very well be. Can we get photo number 2, please? This was the roof where he was, and look at how obvious. I mean, there's people right there. I mean, how much more obvious could he have been?
Wearing a red hat, maybe that'd be more obvious. Otherwise,
oh my God! And then, and I want you guys to see this clip. You've probably already seen it before. The redhead guy who talks about the eyewitness guy with the red hair. He's become, I guess, almost famous on the internet. His stuff has gone viral. But let's watch clip number 3, please, and then we'll talk about this.
And watch and listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, but we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police are like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling
Yep.
police and the Secret Service.
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
Binoculars.
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? This is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
I love the BBC headline: Trump injured after apparent shooting at rally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or CNN said he fell, right? Was it?
Helped off stage.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's just like Todd was saying earlier, there's something either went wrong or there was some kind of setup
Something
going.
had to happen.
Somebody knew something. It wasn't that far. It was 400 feet. He was 400 feet away.
Right.
That's 130 yards or something.
Nothing.
That's not. I've shot long range 400 to 500 yards, and I can hit a target the size of a dinner plate at that distance with the right equipment.
Right.
And I'm not super experienced. I'm not a sharpshooter. I'm not super experienced. Anybody can hit a target that size from 130 yards with basic training and the
Proper
right
gear,
equipment.
right.
Yeah. So to me, Todd, it makes sense that the security would have known that, and anything within 500, 600, 700 yards would have been heavily covered or at least inspected, right?
Well, as of right now, I think Dan Bongino's live from the RNC, from the convention, and he's going to have a whole bunch of Secret Service people on talking about what the heck could have happened here to let this. And all the guards were women, and stuff. It's just so weird.
That was another.
Yeah, that's another misfortune there with the DEI and all that kind of crap. I want the pilot on the plane to be the best pilot. Period. I don't want him to have purple hair, and I don't care what his gender is, or that it's a bunch of crap. I think that the snipers on the rooftop, where I guess they were supposed to be police or local police that were involved or hired to do as such. So naturally, when you hire the police, they're going to fall under the jurisdiction and direction of the Secret Service. The Secret Service, of course, is being told what to do by certain choreographers of this administration. So they had it all set up. I believe. I mean, it just seems to believe they wanted certain things to maybe happen, and then after that, they take care of the threat, of which they enabled. And then they also have bombs in the car in case the guy gets away. They can probably detonate those bombs and blow everything, all the evidence away there as well. But I don't put anything past the billionaires and trillionaires that want to dissolve America, because it gives them greater power and control over the minions of the insects of the world. And it sounds so, I mean, if you said this stuff 30 years ago, 20, 40 years ago, you sound like, tinfoil hat type crap, but it's real. I mean, I believe it's real because they've discovered they can get away with it.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to get right back to that point right after this. We have just a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. The Cali Key, this device, the Cali Key, removes your AR from the definition of assault weapon. When they make these so-called assault weapon ban lists, they're created to exclude manually operated bolt-action firearms. So just by dropping the Cali Key into your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you will have a bolt-action rifle that falls outside the definition of so-called assault weapon. You don't need to do anything else. So give the Cali Key a look, because with it, you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, enhance long-range precision and quieter suppressed shooting. The Cali Key has state-specific expert attorney opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. Cali Key's mission: to empower customers and claw back our civil liberty. So go to calikey.com and use the discount code LOADED. Which brings me, Todd and John, to the next thing. You can bet that the gun grabbers are going to use this once everything settles down a bit. They're going to use this incident to talk about banning rifles, banning semi-automatic rifles, and all this stuff. We're going to be right back into how they use these situations to push for more gun control. And Todd, I know you're a gun owner. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how is this incident going to relate to what the left does next?
Well, the left is going to do what they always do. They're going to use the inertia and the momentum to try to go after the legal gun owners. Am I there? Okay.
We got you.
Looks like I'm freezing. But yeah, they're going to go after the legal gun owners and the inertia and momentum, of course, because they want the American public disarmed, because it's a lot easier to control the idiots and the minions if they can't retaliate. I had a little retort with Stephen King online. I responded to his, because he's anti-gun. He used to be my favorite author, but I said, this is ridiculous. The message you're trying to relay here. It's like saying that the pencil is responsible for a crappy novel.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, it's just
or the
stupid.
spoon is responsible for making me fat, right?
Right. It's just dumb. But that's the left's favorite narrative besides abortion. It's a single issue items, which has nothing to do with the economy, the crime, the dissolving of America, the sovereignty, our borders. I mean, it's amazing the people that ignore all that and want to focus on guns. I've been shooting since I was 7 years old. In September, I'll be 67 years old. So, long time of shooting, and I have 3 CCWs, one here in California as well. And it's just ridiculous. You're not going to protect everybody from everything. If they're not going to use gun, they're going to use fire. They're going to use hammer. They're going to use poison. They're going to use baseball bats. They're going to use anything they want. Yes, a lot of damage can be done with automatic weapons, but most all guns are semi-automatic. That's another thing. It's ridiculous. It's a semi-automatic.
Oh, I know.
Semi-automatic. I mean, a hammer is semi-automatic. The more you can swing it, it's semi-automatic.
Right.
I mean, this thinking it just drives me nuts. But yeah, they're gonna ramp it up, but they don't want to ramp it up too quickly because they're the ones that used it in the first place to try to take out Trump.
Yeah. Hey, Todd, on that, let's take just a quick break. We'll be right back. I want to continue this conversation with Todd Howarth, Right back after this.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
Our founding fathers saw them coming over 200 years away. That's why they wrote the Second Amendment. Join us in the fight to preserve your gun rights and stop unconstitutional gun control. Gun Owners of America is the country's only no-compromise gun rights organization. Not only do we inform and educate, but we bring the fight to court and win. Your God-given right to keep and bear arms is our top priority. Become a member today and help us take back America. Join us at gunowners.org. All right, we're back, and we're with the one and only Todd Howarth. We're talking about guns and stuff, and Todd, famous musician. So what a breath of fresh air that you are also pro-gun, pro-conservative values, and by the way, can we, Danny, can we pull up that photo number 13 of Todd? I thought that now would be a good time to show that. Todd, you mentioned your wife earlier. We grabbed this photo. What a great shot. What a great shot.
That's fun. Yeah, that was a lot of fun that day. We did two boat Trump rallies out here on the harbor. It was amazing. There were so many boats, and I'm pretty good with navigating our boat, but boy, I had to really watch my butt because there was yachts and and Trump flags, and people are lined up all alongside Shelter Island, Harbor Island, to watch us do the rally. We did a couple of vehicle rallies. We did the motorcycle rally. We've been on it for quite some time. And another thing, getting back to this California thing, California is not as blue as California pretends it is. There are a lot of concerns here, especially once you get off the coast, which is amazing to me, because the people with these multi-million-dollar homes think they're going to be able to keep their homes if they keep purveying the Marxist, liberal attitude. They're going to have to open those doors, and maybe some of the young daughters, the illegals, to come in and have at. So it's just this stupid. But there's a lot of conservatives in California, far more than people know, and a lot of musicians and actors have to be quiet because of their business. I'm almost retired. For all practical purposes, I am, but I can say what I want, and I do. A lot of people can't because their livelihood depends on it, because there's still the Disneyland type entrepreneurs out there that want everything to be so inclusive that there's nothing left except for AI and transgender people, I guess. Just amazing. But anyhow, so yeah.
I could feel your frustration. I know it's just so crazy. And you mentioned California not being quite as blue as people might think. Same here in New York. It's what's that?
Everywhere I go,
mostly conservative. Yeah.
Everywhere out of the major cities, it's everybody's a Trump. Some guy asked me if I had a Trump hat. I was up in Ticonderoga, New York, and he goes, "If you had a Trump hat on right now, you'd be the hero of this place." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't bring my Trump hat with me. I'm sorry, but pretty funny."
I've got 7 hats, 7 or 8 of them, and one's in my big 4x right now. In my Jag, though, I had to make my Jaguar. I had to something, that said, supporting Trump, because if you put something on your nice car, they're going to keep it.
That's awful,
right?
Or they're going to wreck it or break. It's chicken crap. Can I say chicken crap? It's chicken crap. What they'll do to people that support, Trump or conservative, but the left can do anything they want. I don't get it.
Yeah, no. I wanted to move on a little bit. It's no surprise that the left would bring themselves to try and kill President Trump. This has been their mission ever since he came down the escalator and promised to make America great again. They didn't want to get rid of him this way unless they had to. First, they impeached him, then they indicted him, and along the way, they painted him as the most evil man on the planet. Many people predicted that they would take their level of indoctrinated hatred to this extreme. Now, they're desperate to get rid of President Trump because he shines a spotlight on the political left's hatred, anger, and disdain for what makes America great. From Joe Biden all the way down to your left-wing liberal progressive neighbor or the person you see in the grocery store parking lot with the Biden bumper sticker on their car. Now, these people hate President Trump, and they often hate you for supporting him. Left-wing media and the Democrat Party have brainwashed almost half of America into believing that they're morally and intellectually superior, that President Trump is a bad man and that he should be killed. Watch this clip.
Hey, they're going to take it away. You, Clarence Uncle Thomas. You. Joe, you now have the right to take that bitch Trump out. Take him out, Joe. If he was Hitler and this was 1940, you'd take him out. Well, he is Hitler, and this is 1940. Take him the out.
I just throw a punch.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. That thing needs to have some more reassignment. I won't even go into that because it's obvious what the problems are and the dysfunction there. But obviously, the youthful ignorance and naivete of the Second World War, and the players in it, to compare Hitler to Trump, that's like me be compared to Einstein. It's like just apples and grains of sand as far as I'm concerned. And then to push that type of thing. Now, if we had said that stuff about, Biden, the turnip, of course, we'd be on a list, which I'm sure a lot of people are already on a list because they don't like Biden or they don't like Obama or they don't like any of the other people that are enabling this type of thought process to happen. But that's just flat out insanity. It's insanity.
Well, they specifically compared him time and time again to the most hated man in history, Adolf Hitler. And when these weak-minded people are convinced of something like this and they have been taught to denounce God and a higher power, they lose all sense of humanity. This is why they can be so hateful. They're proud to kill babies in the womb. They want the death of President Trump. They've wanted it for a long time, and many of them wouldn't care if we died tomorrow. So here's another example of this hatred.
Well, you have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
No, I wish we were in high school, I could take him behind the gym.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
Take him out now.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Please, get up in the face of some Congress people.
People will do what they do.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
We're going to go in there, we're going to...
This is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. And for those of you who are soldiers, make them pay.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
So I played that because I wanted to make the point that they are the ones, the Democrats and the left-wingers, who have incited this type of violence and this type of... What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Zach, it's mental illness. These people are nuts. Like Todd said, a generation ago, you could not get away with saying that stuff in public without having somebody come down and knocking on your door, right? Yeah. Especially if we're talking about the president of the United States. Yeah. Now it's like everything's, it's all no holds barred. You know, nobody cares about anything. You can do whatever you want. So I hate to see what's going to happen, but.
Well,
they've been
doing
this. Obviously, they've been purveying this type of message for quite some time. And then the turnip in office right now decides that we need to ramp it back a little bit and bring down the rhetoric when he was the one that enabled to begin with. And all this talk about him beating Trump behind the bar. The turnip fight his way out of a wet diaper. So I don't know what the hell he thinks he's doing with I'm going to this and I'm going to that. You can't do crap. No. And the rest of those clowns, unbelievable. They get away with that stuff, and the not insurrection. Let's talk about the acceleration of violence against a former president, or at that time, some of those a sitting president. Why weren't they locked up? You know, it's just. I mean, we all know the reason why, because the globalists and the billionaires, the trillionaires are calling the shots, and the media, who seems to think they'll have a seat at the table, are helping them. When the media are just useful tools that will be discarded once the message that they hope to purvey and get through is done, and they've got their utopia of Marxist socialist landscape. I'm just so floored by the people that believe this stuff.
Well, and I want to make the point, bouncing off of what you just said there. The people who believe this stuff, coming from our elected officials. Let me play you another clip, and I'll give you an example of just exactly how these people are manipulated. Go ahead. Let's play clip 7 or 6.
Booth, if you can hear us, if you are with us, please, John Wilkes Booth, if you're listening, please.
Let me get this straight, dumbass! You have a fully reloaded shotgun, but you chose to use a 1-bullet.
We're not even sending our best to fucking assassinate. Cause what the hell was that? Lee Harvey Oswald would never, bitch. John Wilkes Booth would never.
Today was like this close to being the best day ever.
Also, the person that at Trump at his rally was exercising that right that all of those Republicans were fighting for. So can you really blame him?
Before we comment, I want to play one more. Clip. This one is especially heinous, and then we can talk about it. Go ahead. Number 8, please.
I just found out about this shit. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew, and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away! Oh!
I'm sorry to infuriate you guys, but go ahead. Let me hear what you have to say.
John, go first.
Well, my perspective is that what this has done, what the media and everybody else has done over the past generations or so, is they've made it possible for individual nobody people to feel empowered because they have assigned opinions about things that they think are important. So everybody thinks they're an expert. Everybody thinks their opinion is important. It's not surprising when you enable people like that through consensus and constant reinforcement throughout the years from the media, just like things like Trump is Hitler. You keep repeating that to people who already have a sense of self-importance and want to be part of a solution to a problem that's been created, and you're going to have problems. But it's not surprising. But when we look at it, we've seen it coming for at least 7-8 years now, when it got bad enough where you're like, what's wrong with these people?
They probably still don't. They don't realize that something is wrong with them.
Not at all. But it's given the everyday Joe a sense of importance that he shouldn't have, basically, because now whatever I think, what everybody else agrees with. Therefore, I'm on the right side. Therefore, whatever has to happen, let's go. Let's make it happen. And that's what's happening. Yeah. It's sad.
I don't think they realize the tit for tat that's going to happen here if they keep pushing this envelope. You know, as conservatives, you know, when President Trump, when he was shot at on Saturday, how many cities were burned down because of that? None. How many riots took place? How many people were killed as a direct result of that attack? So they keep prodding and pushing the bear, and these people are out of their minds. Eventually, what's going to happen is if they want to push for the violence to be okay, and they take out their objective or their focal point, then eventually, what may happen is the bears that they keep prodding are going to do tit for tat. Okay, if that's all right, now we're going to take our country back by any means necessary, and you are now the targets. They don't realize that they think, well, we'll just get rid of that figurehead, and then all the people that are Trumpsters, as they call us, will go away. No, the conservative and pragmatic people and common sense people are not going away. You keep pushing, you keep pushing, and we are sick to death of this crap. I mean, really sick. I mean, I get it. I hear it from my fans. I've got a lot of conservative fans all over the world in different countries. And they tell me all the time that this is just insanity. So they don't realize what they're doing, and they do this. For every action, there's a reaction. So,
well, and that's what
you want to keep doing.
And I was going to comment, kind of bounce off of that, is the question is, do we allow such hateful people to participate in our lives at this point? I mean, knowing that they're filled with such hatred toward the good things that we believe in, is there any chance at this point that they'll, acquire a sense of morality or God or consciousness, or basic sense of compassion for humanity? I mean, America's reached its divide, and it's directly related to the Democrats and left-wing media and their actions. They called for violence. They've been doing it for years.
This is on a parallel, I think, with the thought process of everything should be immediate gratification. They come out of high school, they get into maybe a couple years of college or a year ago, then they decide that, or think that they should get a $150,000 a year job, and they think that everything should line up for their wants and needs, and just their wants and needs, because they have no real skin in the game, no kids, no grandkids, no career which they built off. I wasn't handed a music career. I learned how to sing, how to write songs, how to play four instruments, how to record, how to tour. All the while, I was doing my blue collar work here on this very property. This studio, which is a mess behind me right now, I built with my own hands. I built this with my own hands on our property. I mean, I have done so much work for over 40 years, and it took a while for me to get to the point where I can enjoy my 24-foot boat right now, or our 40-foot motorhome, or our Harleys or stuff. This didn't all fall into our laps. What makes these people think all this crap is going to fall into the laps just because they want it, just because they have myopic single issue ideas about, well, abortion and gun rights and Trump is Hitler? What? Why don't you work?
There's a certain I know. There's a certain sense of entitlement that they have, and it's infuriating. I know.
Well, if you watch television commercials, maybe they all think they're going to marry some Asian person with rich parents and have all that stuff just get handed to them, right?
Maybe that's how you said Asian, because all TV commercials now are Asian people. I don't understand why. But anyway, let me get to one of our sponsors real quick. You want to know who's fighting for your gun rights? Gun Owners of America. Now, GOA is the no compromise gun rights group. I urge you to become a member at gunowners.org. What have they done? Well, GOA has secured a preliminary injunction against the ATF pistol brace rule. GOA members submitted a record 85,000 plus comments opposing the ATF's universal registration check rule. They helped enact permitless carry in Nebraska and Florida. GOA secured victories in California, Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Plus, they won 2 legal victories against the ATF's zero tolerance policy, and GOA fought to overturn Joe Biden's ban on funding hunter education, shooting sports, and archery in schools. So with the constant attacks on our Second Amendment, we often ask ourselves, well, what can I do about it? Well, this is what you can do. You can become a member at gunowners.org and help us save the Second Amendment. All right, so back to the entitlement. It's this crazy entitlement that this generation is just different now. I mean, it's just different. What's that, Danny? my son Danny is our producer, and he's of the younger generation. Right. He just said thanks in my headphones. He's not like that, but
whippersnapper.
But some of these kids, it's unbelievable.
Well, it's the kids, the new kids that are 20 years old, lying dead on top of a roof. My son is 39. My youngest daughter is 38. My oldest daughter is 43. My two youngest are very conservative minded, pragmatic thinking, and they pretty much always been that way. I think they're probably more on the fence when they're younger, but as they got older and had their families, my grandkids, and they work for a living, they go, wait a minute. I remember the first time my son said, I got to pay how much I got to pay how much of my paycheck to get to a person that wants to do 100% of nothing? I said, exactly. So it's just the people that feel entitled and want to come out of the gates with, the crib cars, the hot babes, and no responsibilities, and have everybody else pay for their stuff. And it's insanity.
Yeah, no, definitely is. And like you, we've all worked hard for everything we've got, and we sound like we're starting to sound like the old men in the room, but we are.
Get off my lawn.
It's true that we have a value for an appreciation for the hard work, because with the hard work comes the achievement, and then the achievement has value. Just like Todd, you're talking about all your successes. That didn't just fall in your lap. You weren't just, born this rock star with a great voice, could play guitar like crazy. You weren't just born with that. That was skills that you had to develop. Your studio, your recording, your recording skills. John, same thing. Engineering, audio engineering skills. You guys didn't just fall out of the air
because of the way it started. I just told somebody the other day when I was 13. There was a drum set in the local music store that I wanted. A 68 set of Slingerland Blue Sparkle drums. And for my birthday that year, my parents gave me the drum set. And they also gave me the payment booklet. Here you go. We made the first payment. The rest is up to you. So.
Nice. Okay.
That's how it works.
That's the advantage you use to work towards learning how to manage your money and understand the merit-based accomplishments, possessions. I mean, everything that I have right now, I mean, the wife and I have, a lot of toys. As a matter of fact, we bought all our toys before we bought our place because, I lived in my recording studio for many years because I couldn't afford a house. And I had 3 kids that I had to pay for, or that I should pay for and did pay for. But all the stuff that I have now has nothing to do with music. All I have is memories and success and pictures and recordings. I mean, the music industry now is so convoluted as far as income coming in. Unless you're, unless you're an old popular band, like the Stones, which you can tour forever, evidently, or you're Taylor Swift. It just, there's not a whole lot of money to be made for old guys like me. So people see this on my Facebook. And I let them know. I said, this has nothing to do with my music. Especially if they allude to the fact, it must be nice to be a rock star. Well, I'm not a rock star. I'm a rock entity. I'm a rock personality. I've had some success, but all the stuff that I had, I was flat broke in 1980, late 88, 89, until I went back to play with Cheap Trick again, because I had a leased house. I had the 3 kids, and then I got divorced, and oh my God, the duty hit the fan. But I had to rework for everything I have now.
Yeah.
So it's like, my God, you just don't get everything handed to you, and that is something that this generation has got to learn. But they can't when the media and the politicians are saying, "Well, you can have it all now. All you got to do is just hate the new Hitler." That's bull.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Go ahead, John.
It's what you just said. It just appeals to the lowest common denominator in everybody's own mind. You know what I mean? I'm me. I deserve what I deserve, and I should have it. And if it's somebody else's fault that I'm not getting it, then I have to be against that person. It's a pretty simple equation.
Well, we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. I just wanted to get to a couple quick things. Can we show that clip of Ted Nugent and President Trump, or that photo? And so, Todd, the reason I'm bringing this up is because there are musicians like you, like Ted, who really support the president. I wanted to bring it back around to this so we can have a bit of a patriotic moment here before we close the show out. Also, Ted Nugent said, if you can show that next one, patriotic blood boils like never before in support of this great man to make America great again. And I also want to bring us to the Kid Rock video. Let's play that real quick. I'm sure everybody's seen this.
You fuck with Trump, you fuck with me.
And last but certainly not least, I want to bring up that number 13 photo of Todd, and I want Todd to comment on that. Go ahead, Todd.
We all feel the same in different avenues. Kid Rock, of course, is a far more visual or a well person than I am, as is Ted Nugent. Ted's always been this way. I've known that for years about Ted. I mean, I was conservative back then when I played with him, but to listen to Ted and his amazing gift of gab and his talent, when he wants to play, he can rip. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's like, oh crap, And I've always loved Kid Rock. I mean, it just his attitude, his swagger, the things he does, the way and of course his patriotism. And there's a lot of other people in the industry, acting and music, that do the very same thing. They're very sublime about it, I think, and I love that. It's like Denzel Washington is one of them, which is an art form in itself to relay your feelings and your stance without being so overtly so. But I will always stand behind somebody who's going to fight for the people. President Trump didn't need this crap. He could be living like he's always said. He could be living very happy and very carefree. And no, he's fighting for the people. There's nothing to gain by throwing your life to the wolves, especially the deep cabal wolves. And then De Niro, he's going to destroy not only the country, but he's going to destroy the world. I mean, what kind of talk is that?
Oh, God, De Niro. Don't get me started on De Niro. Oh.
What a tard.
He's a tard.
Jeez.
I think we're at the end here. We're gonna have to wrap up. But Todd, before we go, first of all, I want to say thank you. And where can people find you? What's your message? And what's your call to action right now?
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. I've got 3 solo CDs. Are called the Canvas series. If you can see those, amazing at breaking up. But they're available on my site at todhowarth.biz. And also my autobiography is being finished up right now, and it will be available as well. There's some other T-shirts and back catalog of my CDs. And I'm going to be continuing my patriotic quest and live broadcast, and I'll be singing the national anthem live again on Facebook very soon. And I'm going to push for the betterment of this country, and I'll always be behind the people that want to fight for it.
Todd, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Dan, go ahead.
No, you go. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me on here, and thanks to your son. Thanks to John. It's an important thing for all of us to keep this going and not be afraid of the pew-pews and not be afraid of the sane people to have pew-pews, because it's just extremely important to have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in our pocket, because without that, it's a free-for-all and not the good kind.
Yep, definitely. Well, thanks again, Todd. Thanks, John. And thank you for watching us on Rumble. You can find us on OpsLens, Right America Media, the new Mojo Network, Key Radio Network, and you can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the different podcast platforms. You can find the Loaded Mic. Thanks for watching. I'm Dan Was, and remember, the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.